After Jimmy graduated from college, he had to work as a cashier in a convenience store because he couldn't find a job. This convenience store is open 24 hours a day, and there are two employees in the store, him and the owner. Jimmy mostly works the night shift and stays there all night. The convenience store is located in a relatively remote area with fewer people during the day, let alone at night. Jimmy never understood why it was open at night in such a remote place, and he couldn't think of a reason, but he didn't have to worry about it. Finding a job wasn't easy, and as long as he got paid every month, he didn't care about anything else. The hours were long, but the job was easy because there were fewer customers. At night, when no one was around, he could rest for a while on the sofa next to the counter. One night, Jimmy finished cleaning up and was ready to rest for a bit. He was in a daze when the doorbell suddenly rang. Every time a customer opened the door, the bell would ring to alert the staff. Jimmy felt uncomfortable. It was so late, who would be coming to buy something? Reluctantly, he got up. No matter what, as long as there were customers, he had to serve them. A girl came in wearing a white dress, her skin pale like a porcelain doll. To be honest, this girl was very beautiful, giving off a bright aura. Jimmy stared at her dumbly. He knew it was rude and that she might take offense, but he couldn't control himself. He just couldn't take his eyes off her. The girl noticed his gaze but didn't seem to be angry. She just smiled slightly, making Jimmy blush. It had been a long time since he felt this way. Seeing such a girl, it's hard for anyone not to be captivated. The girl picked out a few items, coffee and chocolate. Jimmy remarked, "These are high-calorie items, lots of sugar. Aren't you afraid of gaining weight?" As soon as he said it, Jimmy regretted it. He shouldn't have mentioned weight. Embarrassed, he quickly added, "I didn't mean you're fat. Your figure is perfect as it is." Jimmy was even more flustered after that, realizing he really didn't know how to talk to girls. The girl laughed. "It's okay. Can I also get some fish balls?" Jimmy sighed in relief and filled a container for her. "Why are you out so late? It's dangerous for a girl to be out alone in a place like this. You should hurry home." She replied, "I just moved here, and I work nearby. I got off work late." "Oh, if you can find another job, you should change. Safety comes first for a girl out there. Be careful going to and from work." "Thanks, I will," she said as she paid, picked up her things and left. Jimmy stayed where he was, still watching her walk away, sighing to himself, "What a nice girl. If only she could be my girlfriend." But then he thought, how could someone like her ever notice someone like me? He sighed again, realizing it was a pointless dream. The next day when the boss came in to take over the shift, he found a strange coin but didn't say anything. He just quietly slipped it into his bag, knowing it was likely cursed. But the store had to stay open. The owner had tried to close the store before, but ghosts would haunt him all night if they had nowhere to buy things. So the owner had no choice but to keep the store open. Even though the convenience store didn't make much money, the ghosts would leave small tokens, which gave the owner some peace of mind and confidence. Without these tokens, the owner wouldn't be able to keep the store running, as it was too remote, and finding staff was difficult. Jimmy being willing to work there was already a stroke of luck, though the owner knew Jimmy would likely quit if he found out the truth. As long as the ghost didn't harm Jimmy, it was fine. "Boss, is there a factory nearby?" Jimmy asked. "Huh? There's no factory here. Why do you ask?" The owner was a little worried that Jimmy might suspect something. "Last night, a pretty girl came into the store. She said she worked nearby. I've been here for a while, but I haven't seen any factories around. Maybe she was just making small talk. Pretty girls like that aren't for guys like us. Don't get any ideas or you'll just get yourself into trouble," the owner cautioned. "I know, boss. I was just asking," Jimmy replied, a bit dejected. "Well, just focus on your work and don't worry about other things," the owner said seriously. Jimmy could only nod in agreement, knowing that girls like that would never notice someone like him. For the next few days, the girl came into the store almost at the same time each night, buying similar items. Jimmy would chat with her every time, never realizing she wasn't human. Every morning, the boss would find more strange coins, but he never dared to tell Jimmy, fearing it would scare him. The ghost had been coming for several days, but it didn't want to harm Jimmy, so the boss pretended not to notice. One day, the girl came in as usual, but her face was pale and she looked unwell. "You look pale. Are you sick?" Jimmy asked as she rubbed her temples. "Maybe. I feel weak and dizzy. I might have a cold," she replied. The girl bought a lot of items and Jimmy was surprised. "You're sick, but you still bought so many things. Can you carry them all by yourself?" "I live alone, and I just ran out of everything at home, so I couldn't wait. My house is close by. Could you help me carry these back?" Jimmy thought for a moment. There was no one else in the store at night, so leaving for a while wouldn't be an issue. Besides, he couldn't say no to such a beautiful girl. "I can help you carry them back. Just wait for me to lock up, and I'll help you with your bags." Jimmy was excited at the prospect of going to the girl's house, even if it was just to help carry things. It felt like an opportunity he couldn't miss, to see where she lived, to learn more about her. Jimmy followed the girl carrying her bags until they reached a house that looked abandoned. "You live here?" Jimmy asked, surprised. "Yes, my situation isn't great. Sorry if it looks bad." "I didn't mean that. It's fine. You're so pretty, it's impressive that you can manage on your own." Jimmy followed the girl inside. The room was very dark. "Can you turn on the light?" he asked. The room had a strange scent, but Jimmy didn't think much of it. It was normal for a girl's room to have a unique fragrance. In the darkness, a pair of cold hands embraced him. Jimmy's heart raced. This luck came too suddenly. Just as he was lost in the moment, he felt a sharp pain in his body. The girl giggled. "Such beautiful skin. This will do perfectly. This dress is torn. It's time for new clothes." With that, the girl's spirit took over Jimmy's body, and Jimmy became a ghost, forever trapped in that house. The female ghost had set a boundary. Jimmy could only watch as the girl left with his body. He was left to haunt the dilapidated house, hating himself for being so easily deceived. If he hadn't harbored those foolish thoughts, he wouldn't have met such a fate. Now Jimmy could only wait for the next opportunity.